Okay, right, so we have done the collar and the first row of V-stitches. Now we're going to do this third row. We count this as a first row, even though it's 10 rows, really, sideways on. And then this is the second row. This will be our third row. So this is back in white if you're copying this design. So here I have my white yarn, and I will make a slip knot as usual. There we go. And now we're going to attach it. Now, where do we attach this? Well, this is the front, this is the back where I stitched the two bits together. Hopefully it's not too obvious, but you can see a very slight difference. So on the back, you've got these two stitch markers. These are where the sleeves will go eventually. But we count from the right-hand stitch marker, 1 V-stitch, 2 V-stitch, 3 V-stitches. Going into the middle of the V-stitch, into the V space. So not at the top, but into this space created by the V-stitch. That's where we introduce our colour. And this is very similar to how we started this one. We chain 1. So first we attach the colour with a quick chain. Yeah, just attaches it. Don't count that as a chain. And then we do chain 1 and 2, and that will be the second leg of that first V-stitch when we go around and finish it. So we leave this unfinished. Next, we work 3 V-stitches into these V-stitch spaces. So yarn over into the V-stitch space, pull up a loop, we have 3, yarn over, go through all 3, chain 1, no, that's not right, sorry. So there's our chain 2, yarn over, go into there, pull up a loop, go through 2, go through 2 again, chain 1, yarn over back into the same hole, pull up a loop, you have 3, yarn over, go through 2. Now you have 2 on your hook. Okay, so that first one is very slightly bit different because it's a full double crochet. Now we're going into the next V space, which is here in there. Okay, yarn over, go into the next V space, pull up a loop, you've got 4, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3, chain 1. Yarn over, go back into the same hole, pull up a loop, you have 3, yarn over, go through 2. Finish that one. Now we're doing the same into the next one. Yarn over into the next V space, which is here, there. Pull up a loop, you have 4, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3. Chain 1. Bit more yarn. Now, yarn over back into the same hole, pull up a loop, you have 3, yarn over, go through 2. So you can see we've done half of a V-stitch at the beginning, then a whole one, another one, and another one. So we've done 3 V-stitches, and now we get to this stitch marker. And what we do at this stitch marker is that we do an additional V-stitch into this space where the marker is, between the 2 V-stitches that are next to each other. So yarn over into where the stitch marker is, pull up a loop, you have 4, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3, chain 1, yarn over back into the same location as the stitch marker. Oh, a bit tricky sometimes with the stitch marker being in there, but there you go. You can of course remove it at this stage. You know, I'm actually going to do that to make my life easier, because I know where it was there. So yarn over into the same space, pull up a loop, you've got 3, yarn over, go through 2. Okay, and now remember there's another V just next to it. We also do a V stitch into that V space. There. Okay, so what that stitch marker is for is to remind us to put an extra V into where it marks. Okay, now we do 6 V-stitches. We've already done the first one because that's where the marker was. There should be 6 V-stitches between markers. So there's one. Here's the next one. 2, next one. Oh. 3, 4. Now remember, whenever we have 2 left, that's when we go on to the next one. 5, and one more. There's that V just before the stitch marker. Here it is, and that's the V space. This will be 6. There. Chain 1, yarn over. There. Okay, and now we do exactly the same. We do an additional V-stitch into that space where the stitch marker is. Yarn over. Pull up a loop. You should have 4, go through 2, go to 3, chain 1, yarn over, back into the same space, yarn over, go through 2. Now I can remove this stitch marker now. It's done its job. Right, so now we need to make 1 V-stitch here, 1 here, and to finish the one we started here. So 2 full V-stitches after the marker, and then half of a V-stitch into that same very first place where we added our white yarn. So yarn over into this one right next to where the marker was. There, one into the next one as well. There, and now we're going to finish this one. So yarn over into there where we started, pull up a loop, we have 4, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3, chain 1, and then we do a slip stitch into that very first top of that chain that we worked at the very beginning. So we go there, pull it through and pull it through itself, which is our slip stitch. So there's another row finished. Now we just chain 1 and cut our yarn. And I do recommend that you weave in your ends as you go along. It makes life a lot easier. So I'm going to weave in these ends now, okay, before I start on the next row. The thing I should have said also is where we worked on the shoulders, where we worked that extra stitch, and you'll notice you've got 3 very close together and 3 white V-stitches very close together. It can be helpful to pop a stitch marker in the middle one, the one that we worked, which was in the stitch marker, because it will just show you where the shoulders are. It's slightly less important than in the previous round, but it's not a bad idea. There we go. So now I'm going to weave in these ends with my yarn needle, and then we'll work the next row. So let's get started. There we go. There's not a lot of science to this. You want to do it more on the reverse, just so you can't see it so much. I do sometimes prefer the metal needles for this, but sometimes the plastic ones are more forgiving if you have a looser project. It really depends a little bit on your project and what you're making. I try to change the angles a little bit to make it harder for it to unravel. There we go, there's one. And now we'll do the same with this other one. There we are. So we can go up here towards the slip knot, like that. And then we'll follow along this way. There. Down here a little bit. It's all on the inside. But even on the inside, I still try as much as I can to make sure that what I'm doing is invisible, or as invisible as possible. There. And then up here, and then I'm going to chop it off. Great, so now if we're making this jumper, we would now change to gold. If we were doing one that's just two colours, we'd switch back to the red. It really doesn't matter. I will switch to gold just for the sake of interest. Right, there we are. So once again, we do our slip knot at the beginning. Oh, there we go. Wonderful. Again, we find our back. This is our back. And you can usually tell because you've got some slightly knobblier slip knots here in these rows. Okay. So we find the second V from the stitch marker. Stitch marker, 1, 2. This is where we're going to join our yarn. And we're going to go through and chain 1 to secure. Okay. Just bear with me while I check the pattern. That's right. Okay, so from here what we do is, so remember we've skipped, so after this stitch marker, we're on the back part of the sweater again. We've missed out this first V after the V in which the stitch marker is, and we've put our yarn into the second one. Again, we will do chain 2, okay, and we'll finish that V at the end, and then we do yarn over and do a proper full V into the next V space. This one is a little bit different because this first one will have 3, not 4 loops on your hook. Don't worry, it's just the first one of each round that looks like this. So we go through 2 and then we go through 2 again. Then we chain 1. Yarn over back into that same V stitch, yarn over, we have 3, yarn over, go through 2, and you've got 2 left, which is your sign you're moving on to the next one. Yarn over into the next V. Pull up a loop, you have 4, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3, chain 1. Yarn over back into the same V space, yarn over, pull up a loop, you now have 3 loops, yarn over, go through 2, now onto the next one, yarn over into the space, yarn over, you have pull through, you have 4, yarn over, go through 2, you have 3 left, yarn over, go through 3, chain 1, yarn over back into that V, pull up a loop, 3, pull through 2, you've got 2 left. Now at the moment we've got 3 full V's and a half V on the back of the work. And then if you look, the next V's are the 3 V's that are in this area where we have our marker. We have the V in the center in which we have the marker, and we have these other V's. So this triad, these 3 V's, we're going to ignore. Okay, we're going to leave that for the sleeve. And now we're not going in there, we're not going in there, we're not going in there. We're going to go into this next V. So we've missed out 3 V's. Yarn over, go into the next V after missing out 3, pull up a loop, you have 4, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3, then chain 1, yarn over, go back into the same hole, pull up a loop, you've got 3, yarn over, go through 2. Excellent. Bit more yarn. So now we carry on along the back. So we do another 1, 2, 3 V's, and again we miss out the 3 V's that are where the other sleeve will be. So the middle V and the V's each side of that other stitch marker. So yarn over, we're going to do a V here. And here. And here. Oh, my yarn is, here we are. Just going to finish this one. Right, so now we're going to miss out this one and this one and this one, and we're going to just finish the one we have started but haven't finished. So yarn over, go into that place where we attach the gold yarn, pull up a loop, you now have 4, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3, chain 1, and then we go and work a slip stitch into the top chain of our original chain 2 after joining the yarn. This can be a bit tricky sometimes. So, oh yeah, that wasn't right, hang on. So into here and into, so sometimes it pays to make that second chain, the chain 2, quite loose, so this isn't so tricky later. There we go, and then through here, there's the slip stitch. Chain 1, cut off the yarn, pull it through, there's the next row. Okay, it's looking pretty good. And these are our sleeve holes, okay? It's a raglan design, so that's where basically the seam is off the shoulder here rather than here, which is more of a set-in sleeve. Okay, which allows us to then work the sleeves separately from here and from here. But right now we're going to finish the body. Okay, so we need to work in these ends again. And actually, all you need to know really is that we've done this row, haven't we? For the next rows, can you see that we are going to work 4 V's? So the next row will be white. We're going to work 1, 2, 3, 4 on the back, an extra one on each side that goes into this underarm space, and 4 on the front. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. As I said, ideally weave these in at the time, but just in the interests of time, I'm going to just shove them in there and show you what we're going to do with the white yarn now for the next row. So, slip knot again. There we go. Lovely. And again on the back of the sweater, and you can tell which part is the back because that's where the knobbly bits are. We're going to go in, it really doesn't matter where you go in, but I'm going to go into this second one from there. There we are, chain 1 to secure. Chain 2 is half of our V-stitch. And then we do yarn over into the next one and work that first half, chain 1, yarn over, pull up a loop. There, that's 1 V-stitch. Then into the next V here. Now we're going to go into the underarm, into this space, Okay, we're going to work one in there as well. And then we're going to go into this V. There, and then this next one. And then into the next one. And then into this next one. And then we're going to do an additional one into this underarm space, into here, there, and then here. And then this is our next V. Finish this one now. There. And now we have to finish the half of this one that we haven't done yet. So yarn over, go into there, pull up a loop, you have 4, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 3, chain 1, and then we do a slip stitch into this top chain of our very first chain in this colour on this row. There's our slip stitch, and then we chain 1 and cut the yarn. So let's just go over what we've done. Okay, so you can see we're up to this stage now. And what we've done is, up here we had 12 V-stitches. Okay, try that's visible. Just going to chop that off. Tail we don't need. So remember, we did 4, 1, start here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Then in the next row, we had 14 because we added an extra one in between those, that double. Yeah. Then after that, we excluded 3 V-stitches from each shoulder where we didn't include them, and we just had 8 V-stitches. So this row has the fewest number of V-stitches, 4 on the back, 4 on the front. The next row, we added that little V-stitch in each armpit. So this one had 8 and this one has 10. The next row is a carbon copy of this one. So it's very simple. It's just 1 V-stitch into each V-stitch that we have in this row. Okay, it's just a copy, and it just grows the sweater a little bit longer. I'll show you that in a second. I'm just going to weave in the white ends because they're going to get in my way otherwise. I'll do the gold ones at the end. Although, as I said, I do recommend that you do them as you go along because it makes life a hell of a lot easier. There we go. Go across a bit and down the back. Wonderful. Okay, that ought to do it for this one. And then just this long bit as well. Okay, where are we going to put this one? Let's try down here, like that. Always on the inside if you can. It will make it a lot less conspicuous. There we go. Across here and across there. That ought to do it. Chop it off. Excellent. Okay. Here we are. So again, we go for the back. This is the back. And this time we get red again. Wonderful. Slip knot as before. There. And then just introduce your hook into any one of the V's on the back. I like to alternate it a little bit so that the knot isn't always in the same place. Chain 1 to secure, then we do chain 2, which is our unfinished V, then yarn over into the next V, pull up a loop. Here you will have 3, normally you will have 4 at this stage, but because it's the very first one, it's only 3. Go through 2, go through 2, chain 1, yarn over back into the same space, you pull up a loop, you've got 3, yarn over, go through 2, then you've got 2 left, yarn over into the next one, and so on. Same as before. There. And it's 1 V-stitch into each one of the V's from the previous round. So we're not adding any, we're not missing any. This row is super simple. Just doing a carbon copy of the one before. There we are. Tails really do get in the way, don't they? There we are. Next one. So you see, although these V-stitches are a bit confusing, and just so you know, I also found them really confusing to begin with. Took me a lot of working out, because this is a written pattern, you see. There's no video, so it was quite hard to understand. But once you know what you're doing, it actually grows pretty quickly. It's can be a pretty quick project once you wrap your head around it. Really satisfying little project, which I absolutely love. So now I'm doing the half that was unfinished from the beginning. Chain 1, and after I've done my chain 1, I'm doing a slip stitch into the top of that chain, which I've made quite tight again. Silly me. There we go. Okay, that's the next row done. Yarn over, pull it through as a chain and cut it. Okay, lovely. So we are almost there. Can you see? Yeah, we're almost there. We've almost done this body bit. The next bit is just a single crochet, 1 single crochet in each stitch, and here we're not going into the V spaces. Can you see? These are actually going into the proper stitches. So for the next row, we're going to be going into the stitches as we would for any other project. Yeah. First, I'm going to weave in these ends. Okay, fantastic. So we're going to go in here, like that, and across, and across some more. Oh, it's just come out, it's all right. And down there as well. And one more red tail to weave in. Again, we'll try to go somewhere here. Always on the inside. And just, you know, common sense. wherever you have more red thread is where you'll be able to hide this tail easier than if you have a very thin or sparse area. So there we go, wonderful. So now back onto the back part of the jumper. We're going to pick up our white again. It doesn't have to, it could be gold, it's entirely up to you. You can mix and match the colours here, which I find super fun with this pattern. You know, you could easily do the sleeves gold from here down. So the whole thing is gold along here. You could then do a red trim, you can do a gold trim here. The world is your oyster, so it really doesn't matter. Right, so now again we attach it somewhere on the back, pull up a loop, secure it, and then we just work. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have put that in the V. Oh, that's my cat jumping onto the table. So remember, we're working into the stitches here, like this, yeah? Not into the V spaces. That was my mistake. But similar system applies. There. Chain one to secure. And then we chain one and start working a single crochet into each stitch all the way around. Oh, here comes my cat. They do like to be part of the action. Hello, Poirot. Hello, are you helping? Just don't knock over the phone. There we are. Single crochet into each stitch. Make them nice and even because they will be quite visible. So nice even tension on each one. There we are. And they give this very lovely, neat, satisfying trim to the bottom of the cardigan. Oh, sorry, jumper, sweater, depending on where you are in the English-speaking world. Okay, hello, Poirot. He's very confused why I'm not stroking him. He's like, how sweet do I have to be, woman? There we are. Poirot, stop. Hang on a second, I'm just going to remove the kitty. Come on, good boy. I think I've offended him. He's thinking, why is that yarn more interesting than adorable me? And he's probably right. There we go. Right, one left. Lovely. Now we need to do a slip stitch. So we go into that very first chain, which needs a little bit of wiggle. Wonderful. Pull it through. There's our slip stitch. Chain one, cut off the yarn, pull it through. There's our bottom. Okay, so it's really starting to look convincingly like our aim. Again, we want to pop these through, and I'll show you how to make the sleeves in the next video. Okay, so I'm literally with this, I'm just going to weave in these ends, and then I'll see you in the next section for the sleeves.